catch up.
Always.
So, am I the first cryptozoologist on your site?
Yeah, you are. So that's why we're super excited about this. Is that we've been waiting for the right moment, and I think that the right moment has arisen. So
Especially being local to us.
that's the big thing.
Oh, Connecticut's. Well, you guys know we have 179 investigations under our belt.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been there.
Is there a hot spot in Connecticut?
Hold on, time.
Absolutely.
Don't go crazy. Don't go
Don't
crazy.
go crazy. We're just a small talk.
No,
Man. Small
please
talk.
ask that. That's important information.
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
guys,
answer that live.
we are back and we are live. We have a special guest for you. We have Colin Hoskin from Connecticut Cryptid Investigative Society. Sorry, it's a tongue twister for me. I mess up on everybody's name. But Colin, how we doing tonight, man?
Listen, so thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the opportunity on behalf of the Connecticut Cryptid Investigative Society and your audience. Really appreciate this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's kick this thing right off into four-wheel drive. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do?
All right. So my name's Colin Haskins, and about 4 years ago, after having so many encounters in the woods, being an avid hiker, fisherman, and all that, not a hunter, but I get back there. I come from Lubec, Maine, which to get there by car, you have to drive through a forest bigger than the state of Connecticut, 200 miles of pine trees. So I've had a lot of encounters, a lot of unusual encounters. You would think squatch, no, large birds, small upright hominids, things of that sort. My encounters with large upright undiscovered primates happened more recently. And then I decided after that I'm gonna have fun with this, and I'm gonna create something to investigate these things. So I just started from scratch at Seville Dam, which has some unusual things inside that water, and started documenting it instead of just experience it. And I wanted to make it Connecticut specific. And so that's what we're doing. We're just, as we say, it's about getting out there.
Let's start from the beginning. What exactly is a cryptid? Cryptid? Cryptid?
Yeah.
Cryptid? What exactly is that?
So cryptid, like cryptocurrency, right, is unknown. Cryptozoology is classified as a pseudoscience right now. It really should be a proper branch of biology. So we try to bring a lot of biology to it. To answer your question, what is a cryptid? Is an undiscovered, unclassified animal. Let's say the coelacanth, right? That fish that was discovered in Africa. I'm going to guess around the 20s and 30s. Now, I don't have those dates right. That fish disappeared from the fossil record, which the fossil record is a biological record of animals going back from dinosaurs to current animals. The coelacanth disappeared off the radar for 6 million years. And then some fishermen off the coast of Africa caught one live, doing very well. And we have since now gone down with cameras and documented this. So a coelacanth would have been currently a cryptid because it was undocumented until a specimen was brought into a lab, and you get the idea. Did that help?
No, yeah. Absolutely. No, and I think the clarification is a good clarification for everybody that kind of might not understand or kind of really know exactly what it is.
It's unknown animal. We treat it so with CSIS, we're looking for concrete evidence. There's no blurry photos. We believe this is a biological animal, so it's going to exhibit all the traits of deer or something like that. Bears, or more like bears. So it's a predator, apex predator. But we just don't need to. And I'm not. Other cryptozoologists go a little bit further than CSIS. They say there's vortexes and there's an association with aliens and UFOs. I don't need any of that. Okay. To me, to us, to CSIS, this is an animal that has not been documented by empirical science.
Right. So it's basically like the mammal version of UFOs and aliens. So not extraterrestrial, but more like living on Earth as an animal.
It's an animal held over from the Ice Age.
Okay.
There are several. We go back. No, we're going to mention this. The fossil record. Let's. As this goes on, I'm going to bring this up. The fossil record is dinosaur tracks, woolly mammoth tusks, evidence of animals, a tooth of a primate called Gigantopithecus discovered in China proves to us that an upright ape hominid walking on 2 feet existed, coexisted with man, as we did with woolly mammoths, the whole ice age. The whole ice age is crazy. All right. Most cryptids are left over from the ice age. That tooth, now we know that's empirical science. All right. This thing existed. Then you just have to say, and there's other ones. There's other ones. There's Australopithecus, which would obviously be more Australian oriented, would be their Yahweh. These animals existed. Then they disappeared from the fossil record. And so us cryptozoologists trying to piece this together, saying maybe they're just isolated in places we don't go, potentially intelligent, fully aware of us, and hiding.
So is this like Sasquatch is one of these also?
Well, yeah, when I say Pithecus, I'm talking about your modern day Sasquatch. Here in Connecticut, our Connecticut specific version of Sasquatch would be the Ganasqua. That's a Mohawk word from the Mohawk tribal nation, First Nations people. And their mythology is that it was called Ganasqua, means stone giant. So they would rub up against pine trees and pitch, clay, and then roll around in small pebbles. I know this sounds crazy, right? What this does is create sort of an armor of stone. This is real interesting, guys. You're going to like this. This was highly effective against anything that the Mohawks could use to sort of protect their kids, whatever, their limited agriculture, their hunting grounds, let's say, okay? And you would take an indigenous bow and arrow and shoot at this thing, this 8-foot thing, right? They're fully aware of it. They have no problem with the existence of this thing at all. We do, not them. Their arrows would shatter because it's stone on stone, right? They're very tall. Let's say I'm gonna be conservative and say upwards of 8 feet. I'm not gonna go into the whole 12-foot thing. I think some of them could be big. As this bow and arrow, this arrowhead made of stone would then hit this stone with stone resins, pine resins, mud, and about 4 or 5 inches of matted, nasty Sasquatch hair. That thing is going to shatter and cause no injuries at all. As we move into colonization from Europeans into the East Coast, that mythology completely disappeared for one simple reason. Bullets were able to penetrate that. So that behavior was no longer necessary, and they evolved away from it. But so you get an idea of what kind of squatches we're dealing with in Connecticut. These guys are big. They're not your friendly squatch out there on the West Coast who just wants to be left alone. They're highly, highly territorial. And they're in arranged with limited resources, competing with you guys and bears and stuff.
So my question is so when you're out there and you're looking for watches, what are you looking for as you hike to try and find, places that they live or stuff like that, or structure aid?
Well, have you gone to and seen any of our videos?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
So our last one, right? We were in the White Memorial in Litchfield. Most Squat, and there's other cryptids. We're not just going to stick with Squatch. Most Squatch activity, Ganasqua activity, happens in the Northwest, and I just happen to live up here, so it's perfect for me. That last episode, you saw the teepee structures.
Mhm.
You potentially heard a howler response. I mean, the place, and then you saw the deer highway. So my friend Buck Fever described it. He goes, "That's a deer highway." He's a logger hunter. He hasn't seen such a thing in 30 years because, because of the mountain lions that are here now, killing the deer straight up. What it is.
Have you had any documented of these mountain lions?
Yes. There's a hay farm in Litchfield County. I'm just going to keep it vague, right? I don't want to draw attention to them. They have photographic evidence. They have photographic evidence of a wolf. And I had a biologist look at this, and they were like, "This is not a coyote. This is a timber wolf." And some of my hunter friends are saying, and you guys are hunters, are there? I'm going to ask you, so you can be like the third person I've asked. Are there less deer out there?
100% less deer.
So what's
Absolutely.
going on?
I mean, personally, my opinion, you know, I'm torn, right? I'm torn. I've never, you see a lot of videos and pictures of things that people say are mountain lions. I have one case, actually locally to me, where there was actually a local horse farm, and the horse got attacked from behind and had
From
scratch
behind.
down the back of it. There's only two animals that can do. I mean, a bobcat can't get around the full size um horse and then claw down the back of it. It's either a mountain lion or a bear
Or something else.
or something else.
Right. There's a lot of something else out there,
Mm.
Steven,
especially around farms. There's a big difference between the, the type of cryptids that happen around agricultural areas and farming and forested areas. Those are two different behaviors right there entirely.
Is one better than the other? Like, is one more prevalent than the other?
I mean, right now, no, honestly, nobody's asking anything about Squatch these days. Everybody wants to know about Dog Man. What is Dog Man?
what is Dog Man?
Well, let's make it very simple for you. Dog Man is a werewolf that does not change into a human form. It stays like that until you get into Louisiana with their Rougarous. Really, I'm just not even gonna. I'm not even gonna go there because we're all about Connecticut, right? Dog Man is happens from Michigan. The Bray Road is this large werewolf looking dude that really, really likes to focus around farms, especially cattle farms. There's really not much interest in the hay farm.
But we don't have Dogman in Connecticut.
One report.
One or dog.
Pamphlet. One report sent to me from Mr. Haunted. Jimmy, what's up? You guys got to get him on the show. I'll send you a link. Jimmy Pettitino, Mr. Haunted. He's awesome. He sent me a report from Pomfret of an emergency situation. Pomfret's very rural, a lot of farms. The largest cattle farms in Connecticut are there. And it was an accident on a rural road, dirt road. So EMTs were called. It was very late at night. I'm going to make this quick on this one. And a whole bunch of towns were responding because it was pretty bad. Somebody else got there before the people that had the encounter. These two guys are called off. They're on the dirt road and they're driving back. They pull over. They get the cancel and they're heading to another thing. And what would be 5 or 6 foot tall dogmen, they get to be very large. The reports are very large, right up there with Scotch. Very large, very aggressive, nasty critters. And bunch of these in a pack. Canine behavior, right? they're starting to follow these things. These guys are seeing them. Now they can go on all fours, like a dire wolf held over from Ice Age again. I really think there's a link between dogman and dire wolf. I love to keep it in biology. It's chasing this ambulance now going, these guys, neither one of them wants to believe what the heck they're seeing in the rearview mirrors. And these ambulances at the time had bars on them on the side. You could hold on. So these things are chasing this ambulance, jumping up on the thing, looking at one of the passenger who's just in complete denial and panicking, looking in. And by the way, they love to do that. They love to scare the crap out of you. We can get on that. And they travel with them for quite a ways with the pack following on both sides, running in front, running behind. I've had coyotes chase me in the woods, and they do that. They run in front of you, and they run behind you. You guys had that?
Mhm.
That's messed up, right?
Yeah,
Carrying
yeah,
the fish
absolutely.
out of the woods, right? And then they stop, and they just let the guys go. And so that's the one report of dogmen that we have in Connecticut. That mythology stretches like the puck wedgies from New England, from Long Island Sound up into Maine, and then into the Great Lakes. A lot of that stuff parallels that. So, the whole Iroquois tribes to our Mohawks and Mohicans and Pequots and those tribes would have had, it's interesting though, they would have had different mythologies, the same description, but their relationship to these cryptids was different. On our coast, it wasn't so good. Up towards the Great Lake, it was more of a friendship.
So let's get back to Connecticut real quick.
Good.
What cryptid do you think is most common in Connecticut?
I'm going to go with the black dog of Meriden.
Yeah, I want to know about
Yeah,
the
let's hear about that.
Yeah. Is this
Yeah.
the puck we?
No, this is specific to Hubbard Park, the hanging cliffs of Meriden. Meriden is crazy off the charts. I do not underestimate Hubbard Park in the back parts in the wooded areas. That goes clean into Southington and Berlin, and if you go on the other side, it hooks up with Sleeping Giant.
Mm.
Sleeping Giant is incredibly creepy. But the black dog of Meriden, let's run through it real quick, okay? So there's this, if you see it, the mythology is this. First time for joy, second time for sorrow, third time for death. So if you see this thing 3 times, game over for you guys. There's a bunch of geologists. I'm sorry. The hanging cliffs of Meriden are very unique. It's fractured trap rock. So a lot of basaltic. It's all fractured. You do not believe me. You do not want to stand too close to those cliffs because they could just fall away. There's this dog, and I used to live in Meriden. I lived in Meriden for many years, and I was young, and I used to hike in there a lot by myself, miles and miles of hiking. And so the black dog of Meriden is not like you would imagine it. You would imagine this sort of ferocious looking thing, right? No, it's a cocker spaniel type dog. It's a happy little dog. It's wagging, it's joining. You're hiking along the cliffs. All of a sudden, this black dog, not even black, I would say, blackish, but like imagine a spaniel, maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall. And it's just sort of ahead of you or behind you. It's wagging its tail. Maybe you're there in the winter and it's snowing. It's not leaving any footprints. It maybe if you're too slow hiking and it's barking like, hey, let's go. You see it barking, but you don't hear anything. And if you see it the first time, I was up there hiking and I saw a dog that was following me. He was pretty far away. He was a good 1/4 mile ahead of me, right? But he would stop and wag his tail. And I kept thinking somebody's missing their dog. And I had no idea. I was not into this back then. I was just a hiker. I was in my 20s. I'm an old fella now. So if you see this guy the second time, something bad happened. The geologists, I forget their names. They were both from Yale. It was back in the day. One of them fell off the trip rock because he was too close and he busted his leg. Make a long story short, there was another guy there, so he saw the dog. The other guy saw him twice and he busted his leg. Years later, decides he's going to go back by himself. The whole cliff face fell apart and he died. His friend went to honor him, and he ended up getting severely injured. And years after that, he went back and ended up in a landslide underneath the mountain, and he ended up dead. And it goes on and on. CSIS, we did an investigation there, and it was really odd. Every creature, we encountered a black snake, we encountered black butterflies. Everything was black. All the insects and everything were black. Black beetles, black birds. There was a black vulture circling overhead. We found a cave that I never saw. And we went up there and asking people if they had seen a dog missing. If anybody's missing a dog, you got to watch the video. It's great. This one like young lady in her 20s on top of the tower there. She said, "Why are you missing a dog?" And I said, "Well, kinda, right?" And she got all, let me try to do the voice. She's like, how do you kinda lose a dog?" Oh, God. It's great. You got to watch the episode. Listen, so we're walking around there. We're doing an investigation. Now, I have decided that this is a dog, right? How are you going to be safe up there? And I'm like, well, maybe you leave it a gift. So we decided, well, first time for joy, second time for sorrow, third time for death. Let's leave it 3 dog biscuits. We left it at the flagpole, right there, right at the base of the flagpole on top of the mountain. You just drive up there or climb up there if it's off season. It's an incredible view. Interesting geology. I really don't want to take too much time. If you want to get into another episode, we will. One exact week later, at the exact spot we left the dog biscuits, a woman fell off the cliff right there. And she almost died. She is not in good shape. She cannot speak right. She has mental disabilities. She has trouble walking, and God bless her. So I would say, given the history, the uniqueness, how long this has been going on, you're probably most likely to encounter that guy.
So then what is the Pukwudgies?
Pukwudgies.
Pukwudgie.
Pukwudgies are, again, so they are specific. I love the Pukwudgies, by the way. You got to be nice to these guys. They are a small hominid. Going back to the fossil record, we know you've heard about the hobbit in Fiji and Indonesia and those islands over there, right? The little 3-foot guys, right? Let's say it's something like that. It's a hominid. They're described more as looking almost like upright porcupines. Crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking the Pukwudgies, the history is that they used to be here with the Mohawk traditions. I love Mohawk Mountain, so I like the Mohawk traditions. It's pretty good for Connecticut. Forgive my voice, guys. The Pukwudgies are the little people of the forest. And, they have the ability to, they border on paranormal stuff, so it's not really my thing. I like to deal with them as biology, but they seem to have some unusual properties. They could be friends of man, and so let's go back to the Mohawks. They could show you where to get nice resources, game trails, where to make flint arrowheads, help you make fires, cheat, all that, to stop you from walking over cliffs and whatnot, and just befriending you. At some point, there seems to be a little break in our relationship with them, and they became more mischievous. Now, the Pucks are more associated. If you look into this, you're going to go to Freetown, Massachusetts, and, that whole triangle they have there. But there is a lot of, it isn't just Bridgewater, Massachusetts, or the Bridgewater Triangle, or the Hockomock Swamp. It's the Mohawk Mountain. It's the Great Lakes. So there seemed to be a break. There was some kind of bad relations between the Mohawk and the people in our area, the Wampanoags and whatnot. And the Pukwudgies became more mischievous to them. And so the woods where they were became more perilous. And as you move up to the Great Lakes, they didn't have that. And you know what I like about this story? They have the same description, but some tribes over in our area had a little issue with them. Over there in the Great Lakes, not so much. The relationship stayed good. That kind of thing is pretty boring until you piece it all together. You look at it. Now, you guys are hunters. You're bow hunters. You're going to love this, right? I know you're going to love this. So I had the thought, let me go like I did with you bow hunters. I did the exact same thing, but with an arrowhead group, people that collect arrowheads in Connecticut. And so in my mind, I'm like, all right, what's going to be the best evidence? I'm not going to find these teeny tiny footprints, right, guys, right? Probably not. What about arrowheads? They were described as having bow and arrows. So ignorant me, just like I did your group, I just reached out, joined the group and said, hey, guys, does anyone find these tiny arrowheads? You got to check this out for yourself, guys. Don't trust me. Jump on a little group and ask them. Dude, there are these arrowheads half the size of a dime. It would be the only thing left over. And when I presented this to the group, they're like, oh, he doesn't know. That was the exact quote, the first comment I got. Oh, he doesn't know. And I said, yeah, I admittedly said, I don't know. I'm asking. They thought they were ceremonial. Listen, ceremonial arrowheads tend to be made out of clear quartz rock, and they tend to be about 4 or 5 inches long. Pretty big, substantial.
Right.
Why the heck are you going to make this teeny tiny little arrowhead? And they all, from here to the Great Lakes, they don't really happen much. They happen in the same area as the Pukwudgies. That's a crazy overlap. Crazy overlaps aren't just random. All made out of white quartz. It's crazy. Dude, they're tiny. So I want to know what you think about that.
Steve.
So you're saying that I don't want to mispronounce it, the Pukwudgie.
We call them pucks.
They make their own little arrowhead, bow and arrows and little arrowheads to hunt?
That's the ancient description, and that's the description of people that see them. They have these poisonous little arrows, right? Pukwudgies are maybe 1.5 feet tall, 18 inches, right? So you would have to size down this bow and arrow, and you would end up with this pretty small arrowhead, right?
Yeah.
No, I thought this is crazy. There's not going to be such a thing. Yeah, there is. There is exactly in the overlay of where the Pukwudgie traditions happen, and then not so much.
I wonder what kind of kinetic energy they're throwing at that little thing, little FOC. So how do you find these things? Yeah, like sift, like you pan for gold. Like, how would you find these little arrowheads?
Honestly, guys, I asked this maybe a year ago, right? I am completely and I was just realized, like, hey, wait a minute, I'm in the woods all the time. How come I'm not looking for arrowheads? They're all over the place, right? I have not ever found one. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing just yet.
Cornfield after the rain is normally where to find the best arrowheads.
Okay.
Especially right after they harrow the cornfield. They turn up the fresh dirt, and then the rain kind of washes them off and exposes them. What was the range of them? How far east?
So this whole Pukwudgie thing. Now, I'm not saying this. Animals, as you know, they don't just stop at. Let's say they don't stop at the Connecticut border. Oh, let's not go into Massachusetts, right? They don't do that.
Oh, about the
Pukwudgie range, right? So roughly, it's from the northeast, maybe down into Long Island Sound, and then heading west up into the Great Lakes area. And that seems to be the general Pukwudgie area. The concentration, the most activity, if you're going to go online, look up Pukwudgie, you're going to end up looking at Freetown Forest and, that whole triangle over there.
Where's Freetown Forest? Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah. But that's not to say it's contained to that.
Yeah.
And so, as I say, the relationship with the Pukwudgies, let's just say pucks, right? Going up into the Great Lakes, they have a much more benevolent relationship. They get along with them. They're still friends, or that was the tradition. Whatever happened here caused a rift.
Somebody
Just
burned a
like
bridge.
anybody, you mess with me and you make me mad, and I'm not gonna like you anymore.
I got one question, and I really, this has been a burning desire in my head, honestly, is I want to know about this whole Gay City State Park, the
Oh,
Black Lake Falls.
The what?
Yeah.
What is
Oh,
it?
the Gay City State Park Black Ledge Falls. Like, this is like the
I don't know
the
about this.
monarch of our area. Like, this is it. It's probably one of the scariest places that there is.
I'll tell you what, guys. So everybody wants to go to Dudleytown, right? And that whole
I
I'm
went
not
as a I've been there a couple of times as a kid. I could tell you a crazy story that happened to me when I went to Dudleytown. I'll tell you right now. It was one of the most wild things of my life. I went to Dudleytown as a young kid, right out of probably in high school. And one of the things is that they say is that you never take anything from anywhere like that, right? Because always the spirits come home with you. So the little girl of Dudleytown, one time we had taken this little piece. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was hanging out with some friends and we were inside the tree fort and we were all hanging out and the power kept coming disconnected. And this was right when we had come home. And we look out and nothing was there. And then nothing was there. And we're like, what in the world is going on? Until we got rid of that small piece that we had taken from Dudleytown, we had just the craziest things happen to us ever. Like that, and I'll never go back there ever again. Dudleytown.
Where's
Yeah.
You
Dudley,
can't go back there.
Mass?
No,
Where's-
this is in Cornwall, Connecticut.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
We're not going to say. I do not want to say too much about them. They are owned by the Dark Forest Entry Association, and they had a trail, the Mohawk Trail, which is Mohawk Mountain. This is right behind Mohawk Mountain. Okay, you get lost in the upper end of Mohawk Mountain, you end up in Dudleytown. The trail, the Mohawk Trail, which is a public trail, used to go right through the heart of Dudleytown. So you were allowed to stay on the trail. The Dark Forest Entry Association had that trail, a public trail, detoured around the entire Dudleytown. You cannot go there. You cannot enter it. You cannot park there. You will get arrested. I've never been, and I'm never going.
That's because of that thing you just mentioned that owns it.
Dark Forest Entry Association.
Yeah, that's why they forbid it. It's forbidden.
Absolutely. The state police will show up. They'll tow your car and arrest you.
Are they hiding something?
When you do that, you're hiding something, right?
Right.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Don't go there.
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to the Black Falls thing. What was that? We skipped.
Yeah,
Right.
Black
Now,
Ledge
I'm
Falls
telling
and
you-
Gay City State Park. Yes.
Black Ledge Falls and Gay City State Park in Hebron and Glastonbury are the creepiest forests in Connecticut. Way creepier than Dudleytown. Way creepier. The only difference, guys, is that you can go there.
Right.
You take a place like Dudleytown and you say, all of a sudden, private association buys it. We're going to plant 2,000 trees. No one does that. Come on. I guess they do. You don't want to mess with these guys. So once you do that, Portland off, it's Area 51 of New England. You can't go there.
Or is it just me?
Everybody wants to go there except me. Because you can go to Black Ledge Falls and Gay City, it doesn't have the same sort
Hold on
of
a
air
second.
of mystery.
Have you still got that rock from Dudley Woods?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you throw that thing back
Oh,
on.
can you hear that feedback?
I can hear you. Yeah, what's up?
I'm just getting like feedback. Hold
Are
on.
you getting feedback?
Yeah,
Bad?
it's weird.
Oh, we're talking about Dudleytown.
That's what happened.
what
We
I
started
said.
talking about Dudleytown. Oh
Yeah,
my-
let's change the subject to Black Ledge Falls and Glastonbury. Do you hear the feedback now?
Yeah,
You still
that's
good?
weird.
What do I do to fix this on my end?
Hold on. There it goes.
Yeah, because I had kicked him out.
Oh, there you go. It's better now.
Oh, that's messed up, dudes.
Dude, that was fun. That was freaky.
That was messed up. Seriously. Black Ledge Falls.
Whoa. I hope I
Whoa.
recorded that.
That's messed up.
All
All
right.
right.
Blackledge Falls.
Don't go there,
That
guys.
was
Don't
wild.
drive down Dark Forest Entry Road. Just don't go there. I've never been. I will never go. Not mess with these people.
What is going
on? There's crazy stuff in Black Ledge Falls. It has an identical history to Dudleytown. Like, Gay City was a colony. There was two families. The Gay family was one of them. I forget the other name. There is a documentary on YouTube, a 3-hour crazy documentary. The same stuff happened. It was a collapse of the colony. It was a religious colony. They made buttons and mills and did all the stuff with wood and lit timber. But as things, electrified, and we went to fossil fuels, and there was no need for these mills. This small colony collapsed. Well, it was owned by two families, and the Gay family ultimately became named after them. They didn't end up really liking each other. There was some deaths. There's a lot of ghost activity there. If you walk around the ruins over there, it's creepy. I was there. I lived in Glastonbury. I was there hiking one day with my dog, and we're coming. We went the whole loop around, and we're coming down to the ruins, and it was really foggy that day. My dog was acting crazy. He was a pretty big dog, and he was getting behind me, like scared, like typical scared dog behavior, and started to hear what to me sounded like a horse, a couple horses, and like a whip sounding thing and chains, and it just sounded like an old wagon, a horse-drawn wagon, right? My dog was freaking out, so we skedaddled it out of there. Many years later, I was in Black Ledge Falls, and I was camping there. Maybe you're not supposed to, but this was years ago. I don't think you can now. I'm off trail, and I'm setting up a campsite in there. And about the third day in, forest orbs come over. They come down off of where the falls are, and I'm camping on the other side of the small pond there. And I'm watching these things about the size of beach balls, yellow, orange, yellow, blue, and red, amber, sort of a off red. And these things are moving. I thought they were headlights because the route right over there, it's not too. What is it? 83 or 89? I forget.
Yeah, 87.
87. Route 87 is right over there. I thought I'm trying to debunk this whole thing. I'm camping with my girlfriend at the time, and she's getting unsettled, right? Well, I'm like, all right, these are headlights. Until these things sort of separated and they're colored, and there's only 3 of them, which makes no sense. They're hovering inside of the trees, maybe 5 feet off the ground.
Do different things though in orbs? In orbs, do different colors mean different things?
It's the only time I ever encountered them, and I've been trying to get some information on them. This happened maybe 10 or 15 years ago, right? The CSIS didn't exist at the time. I have been trying to find out. There's not a ton of information out there. My theory is that they're kind of like, you have glow. It's bioluminescence of some type, and the forest creates it. That's all I can say. These things came over the pond, and that's when I realized that these things are unusual. And my girlfriend was so scared. It's got to be 2 a.m. here, right? She made us leave rapidly.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It was that.
Oh, it was creepy. Now, there's another thing about that place. I found an anatomical dummy. I know exactly where this thing is. And it's from Yukon, an aerial survey. When I saw it, I was looking at the falls, and that's all I'm going to say. I could easily find it today. For some reason, I saw the
anatomical dummy,
like a mannequin wearing a jumpsuit, bright orange jumpsuit, full size, face, everything, fake, almost like hair, like mine, but plastic. Fake.
Yeah,
it was fingers, eyes, crazy, right? And this is in Black Ledge. This I'm at the falls, and for some reason I'm looking at this peak, and it's just the peak just sticking out. So I'm like, I'm gonna go see what's over there. I go over there and I find this. First of all, I thought it was a living person, because why would it be so accurate, right? Not living.
Right.
I thought this is a dead person. Then I thought it was an escaped prisoner because of the orange jumpsuit, right? What else would you think?
Yeah.
So I'm like touching it, and it had like this panel in its chest, right? So I open up the panel, and it's got chestnuts in there and stuff. It had been there a long time. And it says property of Yukon aerial survey study, and it gave me contact information. I'm like, oh no. I'm keeping this, man. It's still there. I mean, I'm not keeping it, taking it home. But this one, I'm like, in the future, I'm gonna want to go back there for some reason and find my dude. And I know nobody found him because it's off trail.
That's what.
So what do you think it was? Like, well, how did it get there? Did it?
Well, from the information, it said that Yukon had pushed this thing out of an airplane, probably with a parachute, to study the winds or something. What would happen if somebody jumped out of a plane, and it was wearing an orange suit, so they could probably find it.
They didn't find it.
If they were willing to donate to CSIS a small, very large sum, I might bring them there.
There you go. You can hold the little dummy as ransom. I got your dummy. I got ransom if you want your dummy back.
I got your prisoner. You want him back? Contact CSIS.
That's awesome.
All right, listen, the main thing we got to talk about here, we need to talk about the missing bow hunters, and we need to talk about the missing 411. Like this, that needs to be talked about before we end this podcast. That is the most important thing here.
All right, so let me ask you guys. I prepared you for this, and I want to hear from both of you. I don't care who answers first, you decide. But what have you seen out in the woods when you're there that you can't explain?
Go ahead, Steve.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't say anything too crazy, but it's very common. And I hope other people can relate to this. I'll be walking out after dark, coming out deep, and I swear to God, I can hear people, like someone's following me. I can hear someone behind me, and I try not to use a lot of light, especially going in the morning, but coming out. And I'm like, there's definitely footprints. Someone's following me. And you'll turn around with the light and nothing's there. And you're like, you're an idiot. There's nothing out here, right? And you start walking again and you hear it again.
Same thing.
So you look again and you're like, all right, I'm not looking again. Like whatever it is can just follow me, because I'm not going to keep turning around and looking around. But it happens all the time. And I tried to tell myself it's my own footprint echoing, or, like, it's my footprint. Like,
no,
but I'm telling you, man. And
where are you hunting? What forest do you hunt?
Well, let's say Patchogue, because that's pretty big.
Dude, on trail 2?
I don't know what trail. I mean, I can look. I don't. Why? Wait, tell me about trail 2 on Patchogue.
That's where in eastern Connecticut, trail 2 is where the most Bigfoot sightings happen.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, one of our investigators is all about trail 2.
Oh no, I don't know where trail 2 is, but I'm going to be looking into trail 2 because, damn, maybe I've been followed by Bigfoot. But I swear to God, like, there's a couple times I can distinctively remember walking a particular trail. Because Patchogue we say trails, but they're basically roads. They're dirt roads, right? You just can't drive on them. And man, I am far from the trail. I mean, I have a long walk out in the dark, and
potentially something.
Right? There is something behind me, and as soon as I stop, it stops. Hit it with the flashlight.
Nothing there.
There's nothing there. Start walking again. I hear that thing again. Hit it with the flashlight. Don't look again. Just I'm getting back to the truck and hope this flashlight don't die.
So there's a phenomenon called hide behinds. A lot of people think they're Bigfoots, but loggers deep in, they swear that they'll see things. They pivot, right? And they're checking, they're going from side to side, and they hide behind and they watch you. I don't know what the hide behinds are. I don't necessarily think they're squatches. And camera person was hiking and had something follow them. Our camera person remains anonymous. But Les Stroud hinted on this. You guys know Les Stroud, the Survivor Man, right?
Yeah.
You know what he suggested, and I do it on occasion. Put a camera behind you as you're walking.
Oh, the GoPro on the back of the head.
The GoPro on the back of the head, and send me this stuff.
How do you light them up though if it's dark?
Oh, you're not.
There's just see movement and shadows.
There's a reason after 4 years we don't post any blurry photographs. You rarely see them. What we're finding is the structures. Connecticut is crazy with structures and footprints. And that's the evidence. You're not gonna. I don't. And howl responses and call tap responses. The weird language. They have their own weird language. I think it's called Japanese language. It's a foreign language, and they have no other way to describe it. As they have their own sort of garbled talk. But that's what you're gonna see. So you're having something follow you. It's a hide behind.
Little bass. Yeah, I don't like those guys.
No, that's nuts, dude. I've had similar run-ins like that. You
Want to
feel
hear
as,
your story?
so you feel as if something's been watching you. You know what I'm saying? Or when you're walking in. The other thing is you see random lights, like random like blurbs of light sometimes as you're walking in the dark, and you're like, what is that? Sometimes you think it's another hunter, and you kind of like, what is that? And then it just kind of fades away, and then you never see it again. Like it's, I don't know. It's,
I got a question that goes with the, what do you call them? Hideaways?
Hide behind.
Hide behind. So
Hide behind trees.
I was just talking about this with a friend the other day, and it sounds complete opposite of what you would think. For some reason, I notice it almost only in the evening, coming out in the dark. Going into the forest an hour before, probably an hour and a half before the sun comes up, I don't ever experience it. And you would think, right, if you put knowledge to it, you'd think the woods have been dark all night, and I'm leaving the road going into the dark forest. You'd think like all the critters and creatures and all that would be out and about all night, but I don't experience it. But as soon as the sun goes down, very early in the evening, coming out, that's almost the only time I ever experience it. And like I said, you would think, if you had to guess, it would be the opposite, but it's only in the evening.
That's when you have to stop hunting, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't that when you legally have to stop hunting?
yes.
Oh. But I can't legally hunt my way in the morning either, though, because I'm walking in the dark.
You're entering, right? You're not there potentially. You could potentially be depleting their resource. And if deer are scarcer, I would say you're going to have more activity as time goes on.
Right.
You needed the resource.
Right. So
that's why we go to a lot of no hunting areas. You guys can't go there. You have no reason to go there. Not at all interesting to you. You guys got to be careful out there. You asked about the 411 thing. Listen.
Yeah, I want to know about the missing hunters in the 411.
It's not my field of expertise, and I'm gonna guide you to David Pilates, missing 411. It's real easy to find this stuff. Seems to be connected to the national parks. We don't have a national park in Connecticut, so I'm gonna say, watch out in our big forests, in our state parks, especially Patchogue, White Memorial, and Robin Swamp. Holy moly, the freaking Robin Swamp. And any swamp in Connecticut is.
Do they like swamps?
They do like swamps. Most of your dogman activity is going to happen around swamps. A lot of pukwudgie activity, a lot of cryptid activity around swamps.
Is that because it's like cover? They can get down deep in the swamp, and it's harder for things to bother them.
Yes.
Like they can hide out in the middle of the swamp.
Yes.
Right. What about bow hunter in Colchester?
Yes. So when I started, and I'm not a missing 411 expert. Okay, just hinting at the surface. David Pilates is the man. So I looked into like you bow hunters. like, well, if more bow hunters are going missing, was there a case in Connecticut? And yeah, this bow hunter went into that whole Salmon River forest area hunting.
Another big forest.
Very big forest. He was never seen again, ever. I forget his name, and it
When was
happened
this?
Colchester.
When?
Oh, it happened over 10 years ago. So nobody was paying attention to this stuff back then. I have to do a lot of, it's how I contacted you guys. If bow hunters are going missing, you know, in my mind, I'm like, hey, I'm not a bow hunter. Why don't I talk to guys? That's how I
Right.
met you. So, you know, we're learning from each other here. There's another thing that's interesting, guys. This is really odd, and I hope you guys pay attention to this. It's a phenomenon called, it has two names, shimmer or glimmer people. And if you've seen that movie Predator, right, where this guy's up in the trees jumping around with some kind of light bending camouflage that you just makes it invisible. We have this technology now. Okay, this is not some crazy thing. You've seen the fabric that makes you invisible. Up in the trees, it's fairly common. If you pay attention, you start looking up there, guys. You probably don't do that a whole lot. You're looking from your deer stand down, right? Pay attention. You start to see heat waves up in the trees. Not good things follow these things around. People do go missing. You could be with, all right, you guys could be hunting together, let's say, and one of them said, I got to go take a leak, right? So you're hunting on, you're walking on a trail. Let's say you're walking in, right? Your friend here Trevor takes the turn, Steve, and goes to leak, take his, business in the woods, and he's gone. Just like that. You figure, all right, well, dude, it's been 2 minutes. Nobody takes a leak that long. You start calling from whatever. He's just gone. Just gone. They do a whole search, right? The whole thing, days and days and days go on. Maybe they're about to give up. And then some kid finds his shoes with just his feet in them. This is messed up, right? Right there where you missed him. Everybody's been over this. Dogs have been over this. 12 miles from there, they'll find his clothes up in a tree, sometimes folded. This is very disturbing stuff. I want you guys to be careful out there.
So
if you're with someone, we don't hike, even when we're in some place like White Memorial. This changed the way I hike. Nobody is ever out of sight. Ever, ever. And
so
if you're alone,
my last question is to you: why are bow hunters focused the most that go missing?
you guys are the stealthiest. Next to you would be turkey hunters. And I have a theory. Let's say an upright animal, this bipedal animal, larger than us, right? Intelligent, is observing you guys hunting. It's gonna definitely watch. It's gonna hide behind watch, rifle hunters, muzzle loaders, whatever, and bow hunters. They're gonna see these shell casings because these rifle hunters just leave them all over the ground. They're everywhere. Pick it up and smell it. You're gonna become very familiar with this smell. You guys don't leave that. You have no sort of, your arrows would just disappear like any other arrow in the woods. Very limited scent on it. And you guys are way stealthier, quieter. You tend to be more isolated. And for whatever reason, you're targeted more than the other ones. You're easier prey. And a lot of times they don't know you're there. That pisses them off. There's a story about this one guy. This squatch comes up to him, and I forget where it is. And I forget, it was on YouTube. And I watch a lot of this stuff. This thing didn't know this person was there. You're decked out in your camo. His arrows were pointed towards the ground. Now, I'm not at all familiar if that's common behavior with you guys. This thing reached up, just was going to grab part of the tree and pulled down, and it cut its hands, as you could imagine, pretty damn bad. This guy was terrified to even move, right? This thing lunges into the woods, obviously dealing with its pretty bad wound with hands, right? We need these guys. and was really doing some violent call tapping and throwing rocks and all kinds of stuff. So there's big things out there, guys. Not just Squatch, dude. You guys got to be careful. We have reports of rakes. We have reports of pale crawlers. In Glastonbury, if you look up, there is a specific Glastonbury cryptid called the Glawacus back in the 1800s.
What is it?
It's pretty interesting. It was a short-lived cryptid. The name Glawacus comes from Glastonbury, wacky, and the Latinized us, like Julius or something. So Glawacus. Now I might have my dates wrong. I don't have any of this stuff written down, and there's a lot to cover. But the Glawacus happened in Glastonbury back in the early days. It was very large. I would liken it to a wolverine, maybe bigger. Might have even been a melanized cougar, right? A very large thing, was attacking livestock. People were seeing it, caused a big stir in your town. And, the newspapers were all over it. It ran for a while. It was very famous. And then the whole phenomenon just sort of fizzled out. And that would be really classic endangered species behavior. I'm here for a little while. I don't have any mates or anything. Maybe I've used up my resources. I'm being hunted. I'm going to skedaddle. Maybe even just die off altogether. Some things are on the increase, though. Squatch activity is up. Dogman activity, we're having that. And other stuff. I really don't want to talk about some of the other stuff. Another episode, guys.
Yeah, let's not talk about that thing that made the thing start glitching out. That was freaky. So I have a question, and I'd like to hear your theory or opinion about it, and not to sound like a naysayer at all.
No, be skeptical. You have to be skeptical.
We all have cameras. We all have trail cameras and cell cameras, and not a lot of pictures are showing up of, every once in a while someone gets a weird picture that's, maybe like you said, blurry, or you can't really tell what it is. So what would be your reason for why these things aren't showing up on all these trail cameras that are all over the state?
All over the world, right? I mean, the whole planet's monitored at this point. It's a crazy phenomenon. The reason that's why we don't have any photographs like that. We will not post blurry photographs. I'll tell you what does happen. As soon as we shut the camera off, we'll get the loudest howl. Taps all over the place, stuff thrown at us. Just things pushing trees aside. Turn the camera on, bang. It's like, oh, nothing happened. It's so hard for us to get anything. What is easy is structures. And I'm telling you, these things are off trail. There's no reason someone would build. It's not like stacking stones in a river, whatever. It makes no sense to go a quarter mile off trail and build this thing in the back of a tree where you'll never see it. Why? And the nest we found in Bantam River, I honestly don't think a person could build that thing. I just don't. And it's not organic. It just didn't happen. That grass was lifted up and placed 8 feet tall. The footprints were maybe 12 inches deep, 18 inches long by 8 inches wide, separated by 5 feet. We have all of this on tape. But
what, found a squatch.
Why aren't we getting? I don't know why we're not getting photographs. They are highly intelligent.
That's what I was thinking. Like it's like they can sense the camera or frequency of some sort, and they just know to just don't go near it.
There seems to be a lot of stuff happening around the camera. I mean, that kind of stuff is like, but misidentification. I myself, I just have to say, I'm sorry. That's a bear.
Right. As much as you want it to be something else. A bear's a bear's a bear's a bear.
I have to be very careful.
Well, that's kind of the same thing going back on the mountain lion, that a lot of people are taking pictures and they think what a bobcat is a mountain lion. or sometimes a house cat, sometimes with the magnification of a trail camera, and they're misinterpreting what it actually is. And we all know that they're here. They've been hit. We've seen many cases of them. They've been documented. It's here. If it to admit it.
They're in our backyard. I'm not going to say where I am, but yeah, it's a substantial farm. Nobody goes back there. I went back there one time, guys. I go off trail all the time. I really regret it. I deserve some kind of military honor. I ended up with cuts and bruises. My dog, I had to go retrieve him because he was on a leash and got stuck. I was in brambles. You guys must have been through this. I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to get Lyme disease, at the very least, a broken leg. Like, I gave up the investigation. There are things out there. It's scary out there. I'm glad you guys are armed.
I'm glad they don't like video cameras, because I carry a video camera everywhere. So now I know if some stuff gets a little sketchy, I'm just going to turn that thing on and maybe they'll leave me alone.
Have you guys ever tried call tapping and howling? Just to see what the hell happens?
No, but I will now.
Before
that, you're talking like tree knocking, where you hit the tree with the stick.
Can you give us some, like, just so we know what a howl sounds like?
Oh, you want me to do a howl?
Can you do one?
I'll do one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a couple different kinds. Well, let me tell you something. And I'm going to give you good advice here. Do not whistle at night or when it's getting dark. Do not whistle. Don't do it. Look it up online. Bad.
I was whistling to Seth the other night to let him know I'm over here.
No, that's not good. Look it up online. Whistle at night.
He almost got himself killed by squatch.
It's good. A good thing I wasn't on trail 2.
I'm going out with you. Are you guys going to go squatching with us?
When we're there.
Hell yeah.
Can we video?
There's a couple different types of howls. There seems to be, you're gonna love this. There seems to be a female and a male howl, and a sort of a high pitch hello, kind of I'm your friend, and then this like low tone. We're getting down to the brown notes here. We're getting to like subwoofer stuff, right? A common communication howl in the right situation on top of a mountain or something, that thing is going to echo for miles. There's really, without some kind of technology out there in the woods, there's nothing better. The two things are taps and howls. Give me 1 second, guys. Ask me a question while I get ready for the howl.
When's the best time to go squatching? Like time of year, is there a good time of the year?
They're not vegetarians. They're going to follow the deer. And I'm learning from you guys. I think deer move into the pines in the winter, right?
Yeah, it's fair to say, yeah.
They're up in the high grounds in the summer because you're a hairy beast, right? So I'm going to go up to the elevation to stay cool. In winter, I'm going to come down and look for some kind of warmth. I'm going to follow the game. These big apex predators that don't hibernate, they ain't eating wild carrots.
Right. And all the ags in the bottom, and they're in the ag and the deer in the ag in the summertime.
That's where they're going to be.
Yeah.
So you want to, I would learn from you guys better than you from me where to go. What I do like to do is target. Right now, I'm onto these no hunting areas. And this is where we seem to be finding a lot of juvenile activity. So a howl, right? You've seen this, right? But you want this thing to echo. So I'm going to do just one. Like,
oh, sharp. Short and sharp.
High and then, ooh.
Yeah.
We got, camera persons over here gave me a sign, is that did you watch the latest episode? We truly believe we got a howl response, and that's White Memorial, Mohawk Mountain. We got a lot of activity up there. And this thing must have been miles in the woods. And we were making all kinds of stuff in this investigation. I'm tapping and howling all over the place. And we're just walking as we're about just before I found the structures. Bang. Deep in. That is measured in miles, that thing. And yeah, and we got that on tape. So there are some things you can get on tape. That's the second time we got howls in that area on tape, and structures up to Ying. I mean, why would there be these things like that?
So one of the questions I got for you, like, do they are they pack animals like like the dog man, or do they like to be alone?
They're primates. Primate behavior is to keep your family close, is to protect your children, especially as you get up there with more evolved primates. You spider monkeys, they all, from the spider monkeys on up to the silverback gorillas, they all exhibit family behavior. Squatches are going to do the same thing. Absolutely. Dogman, the same behavior. That's canine behavior. You know what I love about Dogman? The reports of them chasing cars. Isn't that great? Because that's what dogs do.
Mm.
And they seem to love to scare kids. They're tall, right? They'll look into the second story window, 2, 3 at night, tap on the window, right, of these like 8-year-old kids. And a kid looks in and like, yeah, he's gonna like give him a growl with no intention to kill him or hurt him, just to scare him for whatever reason. And poor kid runs him, Mom, there's a werewolf in my window. You know, just like, shut up, go back to bed, and then go out the next morning. You know, there's your classic 11-inch canine upright footprints. Listen, you guys must have found these footprints. You must have, because I find them. They're separated by 5 feet, bipedal. Tell me you haven't found them.
Dog print?
Any print. They could be perfectly round. Animal prints that are separated, unless it's just me finding them. Camera person seems to think I tuned into them, but we're finding footprints all over the place, separated by 5-foot gate. A quadruped, they're going to step on their own footprints. They're so close together, bears and whatnot, right, guys? What the heck is with that? I'm asking you.
Huh.
Any animal that can do that.
I've never found them. I guess I
I find them all the time.
I've only found one print, and I have a picture of it too on my phone somewhere. But it was only one oblong, like a long human footprint. But it was on a creek bed, so it was only one print in the mud, in the mud. And then the next one would have been on the other side of the creek bed, which was like the high side. So it was like leaves. So there wouldn't have been any other footprints but that one step. But it was
very common.
Yeah. And I 1000% was not a human footprint, because it was private property in the middle of a thicket. Like listen, I know this property my whole life. Like nobody else was in there ever.
Cold? Was it like getting cold?
It was.
Like
It was it was cold. It was the day before, the day after Thanksgiving.
Cold. You're gonna be walking around in water in November.
Yeah.
In the middle of the woods, for what damn reason? With a freaking 18-inch print separated by a 5-foot gate, and it's not uncommon. We found one in Canaan in the snow. I was working on the house. That's what I do. One footprint in the snow. One. We got it on camera. We looked into that. It occurs. There's one print for what, maybe that just left it there or whatever. But there are things walking around bipedal that are large. I see the footprints. Go check out our evidence. We always photograph it. I try to do the step myself and fall over.
Jeez.
Algonquin State Forest, guys, off Day Road. Holy moly. As you first enter that forest, there's a mountainside of boulders that go uphill. Something was running uphill in boulders, in snow, leaving 5 foot. I keep a measuring tape with me. 5 foot separation. And there's all these deer beds there. Something was chasing deer.
Wow.
Nobody goes there. I go there because nobody goes there.
Right.
You wouldn't even want to really hunt there just because it's just gnarly.
So is there anything that you want to share with the listeners that we didn't talk about, Colin?
Don't go into Dudley Town.
Yeah, don't even say Dudley Town anymore.
Dark Forest Entry Association is a publicly traded company. You can buy stock. We could become majority shareholders. Something to think about. Something they should think about. The public could buy stock with them. Anyhow, go check out Gay City and Black Ledge. Everything is there. I was in there. I found a stone circle with 4 cardinal points in there. 9 foot. I know where it is. I could show you guys. With upright standing stones. Camera person's telling, yes, the audience out there, you want to join us, by all means, check out our episodes, check out our social media, hit that like button, just like you guys, support you guys, get out there, be careful.
What's the name of the channel and pages?
The Connecticut Cryptid Investigative Society.
That's on
CCIS.
Same on all YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
And it's a CCIS/CT.
Cool.
And, I have 2 more questions for you. The first question is, when are we going squatch hunting together?
Yes.
That's what I want to know. We can go to Gay City State Park together if you want, or we can go anywhere. I am down.
Except for Dudley Town. I ain't going there.
No. You can go. No, dude. Don't even. You guys got to do a little research. This is like, it's, you go online. You know what they call it on YouTube? The most haunted town in America.
I know it is. I've been there.
So I had never been, right? It's creepy.
Creepy.
Tell me.
It's wild. It's wild.
Right. We're going squatching though. After deer season. We got deer season to get through, and then we're going squatching.
Watching together.
All right. So I know you guys don't know Richard Sear, but his squatching license, it ended up in Paterson, New Jersey. I sent it to a P.O. box, and from there it got sent back to me, and I sent it to Pyongyang, North Korea. It just seemed like the right thing to do. But you guys are good. Your license was CSIS. You can go. You're
cool.
Not Richard Sear. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. We're down.
Colin, I got one last question. We ask every guest this is, we want to know what drives you outdoors.
Curiosity. And I've had my own encounters. I would love to come back because I think we got a lot more stuff to talk about. But what drives me is pure discovery. I want to add amateur research. I really think cryptozoology deserves to be a mainstream branch of science. More archaeological discoveries have been made by amateur researchers than any scientist all day long. And I think we could do the same thing. We are out there to sort of take away some of the mystery, bring this into the realm of biology. I'm not saying there isn't unusual stuff with the cryptids. I just don't need it. They're leaving footprints. They're leaving structures. They're making sounds. They're following people. They're just real. They're physical. And what drives me is to have Connecticut be part of the story. West Virginia, all these places, Louisiana, they got all this stuff. Hey, we have just as much creepy activity as anyone else. And with that whole, Cornwall business, maybe more than anyone else. And we certainly have a lot of cryptid activity here.
Colin, it's been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait to do round 2 with you and go out. I think we should do it. You know what? We'll do it live while squatch hunting. I think that would be the fun thing.
We got to go squatch hunting, then we record after.
Then we do a podcast together, sit at a picnic table, and just chat it up. Colin, it's been an absolute blast. We can't thank you enough for taking the time and joining us. And I hope our guests love it. Go out and go see who CCIS is and enjoy the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
And as we say, gentlemen, it's about getting out there. I want to thank you. You guys have been total gentlemen. I appreciate the time.